Hello and welcome to the 50th episode of Political Breakdown, a show where me and guests talk about the week's news and I try not to cry at the state of the world. My guest this week is good friend of both the show and myself personally, Gary Shaw. Hello, Gary.
Great to be back again.
How's it going?
Yeah. Yeah. Just about as much as I can say, really. It's all pretty much of a muchness. So,
how you found the months? Have you found ways to keep yourself busy?
yeah. I'm learning from YouTube tutorials to play the harmonica. I can now play very badly Lowrider by War. I've never been so proud of myself in my life over anything.
That's very good.
Hmm.
With regards to, because you're doing something productive, do you think that you should have to do something productive during this lockdown?
I don't think anyone should have to do anything.
Yes.
Personally, I think it's a good opportunity to do at least one of the things that I keep putting off in normal day life. As you can see behind me with the books and stuff, I mean, I do read a bit. Do want to point out before anyone zooms in and checks, there is nothing there about eugenics.
No, they're all under the bed, innit?
Yeah, that's it. They're all hidden. The ones back there are mostly music books, books about London history, because obviously I'm a tour guide. A few self-help books, because I know you're a big fan of those.
Love them, mate. Love them. They've all worked for me so well.
I'm not a big reader of novels, but Lucy, my wife, is. I prefer real life stuff.
See, I've always preferred fiction a lot more because I think I do so much reading of absolute hell reality. I'd much prefer, if I'm reading something, for it not to be hell reality. I still like reading dark stuff. I like stuff with a bit of bite on it, maybe some political intrigue, but I can't read non-fiction. I hate the world so much. I read so much fucking non-fiction as it is, and we're about to talk for an hour about fucking non-fiction. I'd rather fucking shit in my hands and clap than having to do it at any other place. Right, news stories.
Right.
Let's start with the government, and we will be talking quite extensively about them. They've been urged this week to suspend sales of British tear gas, rubber bullets, and riot shields to the US amid fears that they are being used against civil rights protesters. Now, what's interesting with this is the government's own rules say that such equipment should not go ahead where they are used for internal repression.
But the government rules, that's not actually for them, is it? That's for everyone else. We've established that.
Well, yes. I mean, the first thing that always brings to mind when I read a story like this is there any country we are not helping to oppress? Like, every country where it seems like there's a dictator on top who's trying to get rid of any form of freedom, you'll always have our British tear gas or British missiles or something aimed at some poor sap trying to not be beaten by police.
Yeah. I mean, the government must be devastated that the Excel Centre has been used as a hospital in recent months and they can't have weapons fairs there. You're not going to drum up any new business while people lying around dying, are you? That's just stupid.
Oh, and unless it's in a different country, then it shows just how useful the weapons can be.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I mean,
demonstration video.
Yeah. I mean, Yemen is nothing more than like a promotional video for how useful our bombs can be when you want to fucking level a country.
Another YouTube tutorial.
Yes. But should we stop sending weapons and stuff to the US?
Yeah, we definitely should. I mean, the strange thing about this country is over a number of years now, we've seemed to have removed most of the industries that we had. They've been sold off to other countries, so the money doesn't benefit our country anymore. It's all been sold off. But one of the few industries that we still have thrive on and seem happy with is weapons. You know,
Well, that
us and the
does,
Americans seem to be arming most of the world.
it does bring into quite an interesting question then, is if, especially we're in the middle of a recession, as you point out, manufacturing isn't exactly one of our major strengths in our economy, but weapon sales is one of our major sources of income, because we're heading into a recession when we leave the EU at the end of the year, probably with a no deal.
Yeah,
that's going to affect our economy as well, because we're not going to have trade agreements with anyone in place at that point. Will our weapon sales become even more important to our economy? And will we have to almost grin and bear it for the sake of actually getting money in?
Well, the thing is, that's where the likes of you and I that actually still do have a soul and a conscience, that's where we struggle with issues like this, because you think, well, I can see how financially it would benefit the country, but then on the other hand, it's possibly murdering and destroying lives around the world. You know, I think a lot of people nowadays, they're encouraged, shall I say, to, well, it's all about, I see these people on social media on the rare occasions I go on there where they say, well, but I have to do what's best for my family. Well, surely that's a given, but there's also a bigger picture. But a lot of people aren't interested in the bigger picture.
Well, the question is it best for your family? Because it's also, well, we feed them, yes, but when you start getting to a world where taking away freedoms becomes the norm and repression becomes the norm, we're already seeing it in this country and other countries around the world. You've got over 50% of the world is under authoritarian regimes at the moment, and potentially, unless we see in the next elections, will continue so for the foreseeable. Then continuing in with this, we can just sell weapons because it's helping our family. In the long run, isn't helping the family.
That's it. Yeah. But I think a lot of people are quite narrow-minded on things. If they've got their house and their kids are in reasonable schools, whatever that means nowadays, and they've got enough money to buy their four-wheel drive that they never go off-road in, and they can have their 2 holidays a year, and they can spend fortunes on each other at Christmas and birthdays. That's it. They don't seem interested beyond that. That's their bubble. That's their world. And anything beyond the parameters of that is something that they're genuinely not interested in. And I think the apathy that people have for anything that doesn't involve themselves nowadays is incredibly sad.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting with Boris Johnson this week not actually saying anything against Trump. With the tragedy and the police brutality that's currently going on over in America, he's been asked many times to condemn it, and he hasn't. He's pussyfooted around, which shows just how callous he is. And he don't want to annoy the US, one, because he's a massive racist anyway. This is a man who has written in the past about Africans with their, I think it's Piccolini smile,
and do the watermelons as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a racist. He's a vile man, and so it always annoys me when you hear someone like him come out and say, "Well, Black Lives Matter." You go, well, why don't you tell your own history that? Because he's going to be the type of person that would say something like "all lives matter."
Yeah.
And the problem with saying "all lives matter" is, although it is correct, all lives do matter, you actually have to look after people's lives, and that's where you actually stop. Go, well, all lives matter. Well, you're going to do anything about the fact that We're seeing police brutality, especially over in America. You see racial profiling, a racist society. You going to do anything about that? No, but I will say all lives matter, and I will go up against someone who says Black Lives Matter.
The level of whataboutery going on at the moment, which I just think is always, it's just a distraction from what's important. But the level of whataboutery at the moment, I think, is Olympic standard. Even I'm amazed, and I rarely get amazed with how shit people can be at times. But all this, well, all lives matter, blue lives matter, all that. No. Let's just one time, focus on one fucking thing at a time. Can we do that? Why can't anyone focus anymore? Why can't we just look at one thing and deal with it without comparing it to other things?
I think you compare things to other things to dilute it and make sure that nothing actually happens. Because if you start going, blue lives matter, all lives matter, what you're doing is you're trying to take away from the problem that's actually there. I mean, I've said before that for me, all lives matter is someone they're complaining that they've got blood on their shoe from kicking a black man to death. Well, what about my shoe? They go, well, that's not the problem. We can clean your shoe later. The first thing we need to deal with is this injured black man that you've just kicked.
Well, the thing is, once again, it's going back to that bubble of you got the couple with the kid and a couple of holidays a year and a nice car, a nice house. And if you say something like, there's this institutionalized racism that's been going on for centuries now, and people have got to the stage where they go, no, fuck this, I've had enough now. This is it. This is the last, something needs to be done now. You've got these people going, well, all lives matter. Because basically what they're saying is, well, what about me? How do I fit into this? And I don't mean they want to fit in as in they want to be part of the solution. They want to help. They want to speak out against it. It's like, well, no, this needs to be about me because I'm important. I'm entitled to something here. What about me? And I just don't get that it's about other people.
Do you think this is going to change anything?
Who only knows? I hope so. I mean, there seems to be small changes that are coming in. There are, but as long as we've got sort of racist fucking buffoons like Johnson and Trump. It's the other thing. I refuse to call him Boris. He's not my friend. He's not someone I want to refer to in a charming, cuddly way. It's Johnson.
Yes.
I don't remember
Johnson,
calling
Boris
May
Johnson.
Kerry.
Oh, this is exactly.
I'm fucking annoyed with that.
No, on Boris Johnson, there's been another U-turn this week from the government in the shape of Boris Johnson. I can't read my own fucking thing. He's that's it. He said that MPs who are shielding will be allowed to vote by proxy after an outcry from the treatment of MPs with medical conditions and those looking after vulnerable people in the pandemic. This is because the government are dropping the virtual measures in the Commons. I'm not sure if you saw any of this. Did you see the long queues? Yeah,
and I saw the other bit where there was an escalator coming down and then there were queuing at the bottom. So then there was people that were on the escalator that couldn't get off because there was no...
It was ridiculous. Now, this is Jacob Rees-Mogg doing his damnedest to protect Boris Johnson from Prime Minister's questions.
Well, he lives in the 1800s, so therefore he's not aware of escalators because they haven't been invented yet.
He's away with the fairies completely. The idea that they need to be in the House backing Boris Johnson, otherwise he will crumble like he has done recently against someone who's moderately competent. I'm not going to blow smoke up Keir Starmer's arse saying he's amazing, but comparative to Boris Johnson, he can hold a sentence together and know where it starts and ends.
He also, I mean, I can give credit where credit's due. I mean, he also seems to be holding his ground and far more than Corbyn did. Corbyn, we don't want to, well, he's not there anymore. We don't need to go on about him, but he didn't speak up for himself enough. He didn't speak out enough. It's almost like I've answered all these questions in the past. So I shouldn't have to answer them again. Sorry, mate. That's your job.
Exactly. Do you think that we should? Do you think this is a bad move by the government bringing in everyone? The 650 people. It will be less now because of the U-turn. Because it was everyone comes in. One of the things that they were going to suggest is pairing for voting, where if someone can't make it, someone from the other side doesn't vote. But that is always that is the thing with both. The thing with pairing is that it allows for someone to go, "Oh, was I meant to be doing this?
Yeah.
Whoops, I didn't realize it was me. I thought it was someone else," and then they'll put their vote down. Whereas whereas a proxy vote with someone from their friend in their own party has a higher chance of doing it fairer.
Yeah.
But I mean, even with the whole lockdown, are we doing it too early at the moment?
What? Easing up?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because other than I can appreciate that the infection rate and the death rate are lower than they were, but nothing else has changed. I mean, we don't have a vaccine yet. My sister works for GSK, and she said all the big pharma companies are working together, which is unprecedented. They normally can't stand each other. They probably still can't, but they're all working together. But she says, yeah, nothing's going to happen this year. So even if they discover something tomorrow, we're not going to see it until at some point next year. So are we going back to Cummins's original suggestion of herd immunity? Because obviously that guy knows what he's talking about. He's proved that recently.
Well, this is it. I mean, the government is still being asked to release the scientific advice that they've been given over both the 14-day quarantine for travellers that has so many fucking exceptions that it's almost pointless putting it in. It's ridiculous. But that's also been brought in as criminal law. So you can't go out or anything like that. But with that and the easing of the lockdown now, a lot of scientists have come out and said they're against this. It is too early. We don't even have the trace and track system up and running at the moment. And there was a news story from this week with regards to the track and trace system. Where is it? Here it is. The NHS test and trace system, which of course designed to prevent the second wave of coronavirus being as absolutely tragic as this one. Not expected to be fully operational until September or October.
Yeah, but we knew it wasn't going to be ready, I think, because Matt Hancock told us it would be.
Well, that is the problem when they say this is ready. And even if it's fully world class, as they keep on fucking saying, in September, October, it's still going to be, what, 9 months after South Korea had it? The question is, why has every other fucking country, from Germany to South Korea to fucking India, have a trace and test and trace system in place, but we're waiting months for it, and we're easing the lockdown before we have it.
Yeah.
So we not have something in place to check on, because there's a story out today suggesting that the R rate is over 1 now up north, in some parts of up north. The R rate in London was 0.4 and has now gone up to closer to 0.7.
Wow.
We haven't got rid of the coronavirus. We're not even at a point where we are on top of it. Yeah, we are charging ahead forward with the argument of we need to do this for the economy.
Everything seems to be done after the fact or at the wrong time. I mean, all this thing now we're saying about the quarantine with, I mean, one of the things I looked at was about BA threatening to sue the government about the quarantine scheme. Well, that should have been brought in ages ago.
It should have been brought in when our infections were low.
Yeah.
Not when we've got some of the highest infection rates still in Europe, and going along, going, well, if you come over here, then you're not going to be able to. You're going to have to quarantine for 14 days, while the rest of Europe's going, yeah, you just can't come here.
Yeah. The other thing I don't understand is it's like, yeah, we've got a higher death rate and infection rate than anywhere else in Europe, most of them put together, to be honest. But I keep getting people saying to me, but the population density is far bigger here. And you go, but you look at Germany and we've got something like 4 or 5 times the death rate. So they've got 80 million people in Germany. So how dense is it here? But by that standard, there should be another 10 people in the room with me.
Yeah, but like Vietnam has like 94 million people and no deaths.
Does that mean that everyone lives on their own and there's no one else for half a mile in any direction? It's like,
well, this is it. We're looking for excuses.
Yeah.
As to why we can ignore and not hold anyone accountable for the tens of thousands of deaths. And although at the moment there is arguments to say that we do not have all of the facts and figures to suggest, or to say definitely, that locking down earlier would save more lives, a lot does point to that.
Yeah. Was it 12 days or something? I think most of Europe, it's like March the 11th, and we didn't do it until the 23rd, I think.
Yeah, because we drag our feet, and with everything, even with regards to face masks. Like WHO is now saying that everyone should wear a face mask. In the UK, we're saying that wear a face mask on public transport.
And in 2 months' time, they'll say, no, just put one on anyway.
Yeah. And where's everyone going to get them? This is it. Where's everyone going to get the face mask? Because unlike, say, France or Germany, who are giving out face masks for free, we have to, the government sends us pictures of how to fucking make one out of a t-shirt. That blows my mind. And even if you do get a face mask, you've got to wait fucking 7 months to get it delivered.
Yeah.
Easier just to die.
Did you see that? There was a program. I mean, I watched it on the iPlayer. So it was a BBC. Is it Panorama? What they were saying about, and there was a company that makes PPE over here, and they kept waiting to hear from the government to say, look, we're going to need a load of stuff for the NHS, and they never got a call. And at the moment, the company is working to capacity for American concerns, and they still haven't heard anything from our government.
We've done this so badly, and a lot of the things is wanting to deal with our own private contracts that we've handed out without any competition, completely against what our own laws are. Like, carrying on with the with the test and trace. This the chief operating officer of the NHS scheme admitting on a webinar to staff that it would be imperfect at launch, which is what you want for something that's meant to save lives. Start it imperfect. They're trying to treat the test and trace like you're bringing out fucking Angry Birds 2. Like, it's not going to be perfect at the start, but all the little bastards will buy it anyway, and then we'll just improve it over time. No, that's not how it works. You can't be doing that. But on top of it, what's fucking beautiful is a leaked email from the chief exec of Serco, who's one of the private companies that seemingly managed to fuck up everything they touch. It is ridiculous. They're like fucking who's that? Who's the what? Midas. They're like Midas, but with shit. Everything they touch turns to shit. It's ridiculous. But a leaked email from the chief exec, and they're one of the main country companies contracted to deliver this shite. And what it revealed is how he doubted that the scheme would evolve smoothly but said that he wanted to cement the position of the private sector in the NHS supply chain.
Oh, right. Okay.
So this is a continuation of not only all of the awful stuff that's going on, we're still privatising the fucking NHS as we go along.
Yeah, but they can't complain now because once a week we'd all clap for a couple of minutes. I mean, surely what more do these people want?
Because this is always my concern that when we get out of this and we're fucking walking on the dead, we're going to realise that we've given away everything because we have allowed the government to run unaided. They are not going to be impeded at all.
No.
You see the stuff that's going on consistently. Like we've had Hancock came out with the law at the start of the week with the policy of you're not able to have sex at home with someone who isn't already living there, or whatever that law was. You can only fuck random people in gardens or whatever the fucking thing was. And then you also had Shaps coming out with a mask for the public transport. Both of those laws, they didn't go through Parliament. They're statutory instruments. So the government are just going, well, this is the law I'm making now. This is what I'm saying now. Yeah. We do not have democracy. And this is it. The coronavirus has taken away all of our democracy. We are not a democratic country anymore. We are a fucking dictatorship, hiding behind the concepts of democracy.
Well, the thing is, it's going back to what I was saying earlier about all the whataboutery. It doesn't matter how bad it gets and how many things are fucked up and how many things the timing is just all over the place. You're still going to get people go, yeah, but it would have been much worse if X whoever, Labour, Liberals, Greens, anyone else. Well, if they were in, it'd be much worse. And so it's almost like the government are going, how far can we push this? How much can we take the piss? How much can we bend them over and fist them with a spiked glove on before they'll go, oh, hold on a second, that's not very nice.
Oh, yeah, but that's it. They've got a fucking spiked glove on, fisting us at the moment. And the thing is when this is all over, they're going to take the spikes off, but still be fisting us, and also could be like, oh, well, this is better than it was. They've still got the fucking glove on, mate. They're still fisting you. Can you not feel that anymore? Are you that fucking blind at this point, with an apple in your mouth shouting, Mr. Mister, that you can't fucking feel when we're being screwed? It's a concern when you give people that are so incompetent so much power.
Yeah.
You cannot find a brain cell between them all. The only one who's got a brain cell is fucking Cummings, but he's got the type of brain cell that's actually a tumour. And so everyone thinks he's got a massive brain. They go, no, he's incredibly ill. That's cancer, that is. This isn't fucking Pinky in the brain here. This is a tumour.
Yeah. He's a despicable human being, isn't he? He is one of those where do as I say, not do as I do. One rule for us, one rule for you.
Everyone from like the Spectator to the people involved in the Brexit Party to Cummings and Vote Leave and all of that, all of them who say the elites are bad are part of the fucking elite. Every single fucking one of them. And they all believe that the rules are for other people and not for them.
Yeah.
People having to decide to not go to see their dying parents, or not allowed to go see their dying child at a fucking funeral. Or everyone who has taken the sacrifices and taken all of them, and in the British way of taking it all on the chin, saying this is for the greater good of this country, and you have these elitist shits who write for the fucking Telegraph, or suck the cock of someone at the Brexit Party, or some shit like this, Dominic Cummings, thinking he's got superpowers, but realising he just dribbles sometimes. They're all part of the elite. None of them give a remote, tiny mutt bollock about the people.
Yeah.
But that's what populism does. It's all about, and it's interesting with the coronavirus. You see 4 of the worst countries for infections and deaths. You're looking at the UK, the US, Brazil, and Russia. What have they all got in common?
Populist governments.
Yeah, they're all right-wing populist governments. And now over in Mexico, they're like 7th place for deaths and infections, I think. And Mexico have a populist left-wing government. Populism as a whole is such an awful thing. The idea of, oh, it's us versus them, it's us versus them. It's all don't worry about any of the actual facts. Don't worry about any policy that I'm going to try to put out. Just understand that I'm saying us versus them, so you give me control, and so I can continue to blame them for any mistake that I'm going to make, which is what all populists do. What do you think? Why do you think that populism has become such a popular thing over the past few years?
I think with a lot of people, regardless of their political leanings, they're getting tired of the status quo and they want something different. But as usual, when this kind of thing happens, fascism pops its head up, obviously wearing a different hat to last time, and they go, "That's the guy. Yeah, he'll bring about change. He'll get rid of the status quo." And I think that's it. People get on board, but they're too blinkered. They see something different and they go, "Yeah, that's me. I'm having that." But you go, "No. Look at the small print. Look into this, research it, read it, instead of just jumping on board blindly and expecting that to be the change that you're looking for. It will be a change, but it's probably not the one you're looking for."
Do you think that we, as a species, have become more blinkered in our ability to see the other side?
I think as communication has improved over the years, the world has become a smaller place. We have the internet. It's not just the print media anymore. We have all kinds of media. But it just seems to me the more that we communicate, the more levels of communication that we have, the more mediums for doing this, the more blinkered and ignorant we've become. It's easier to confuse people. It's easier to misdirect. And that's the whole thing with all this whataboutery. It's misdirection. It's like instead of focusing on one thing, it's like, "Oh, look over there." And everyone goes, "Oh." And then they miss what's going on. It's far too easy to do that nowadays.
Yes, with so much information, a lot of it gets buried, and a lot of it, and it does seem the case often. It's something that I've been I've made a mistake on a number of times, especially on Twitter, where you retweet something that turned out to be factually incorrect. There was a video this week, I think it was, of a white man in the UK supposedly racially abusing a Chinese restaurant, Chinese takeaway. And it was it was put up, from the looks of it, it was put up by a respected academic, saying this is the racism, coronavirus has created this, has created a soil for racism to grow. And coronavirus has done. Yeah. It has done, but someone did research on this particular video, found out that not only was it not where they originally said it was, they said it was Blackburn, and I think it was, the actual video was in Greater Manchester. But he found the takeaway that it was, called up and said, "Well, was any of this racial?" I said, "No, it was a drunk man. There was no racial stuff there. It was just a drunk man that was a cunt."
So they'd framed it as it was an anti-Chinese thing, which is presumably that they're getting the blame for the virus.
Yeah, and there is certainly a rise in racism towards Asian people
Oh, yeah.
because of coronavirus. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what videos like that does is it gives every racist an excuse to go, well, no, this one was bullshit. Means that this one could also be bullshit.
Yeah.
And once you put that little bit of, is this 100% accurate? And once you put that little chink in, then it means it's the boy who cried wolf at that point. And so when there is actual video of actual racism going on, people will be like, well, this is probably like before. They just the lefties, they just put any video and claim racism on it. And this is the problem when there's so much information. I'm quite sure I retweeted that video. I haven't gone back and checked.
The other thing is, which I think is good, is that you're saying, look, I'm not faultless here. I could have done that. That would be wrong if I'd done that. A lot of the people that we're talking about never admit fault. Even when it's proved that they're wrong in some way, they would never admit that. The leader of the Conservative Party around my way tweeted something about the Chinese virus, and he was pulled up on it, and his excuse was, well, what about German measles? You go, yeah, but the disease didn't originate in Germany. The people that did the research into it and studied it were German.
Yeah.
So totally different.
It's the same with Spanish flu. Yeah, it's the same with Spanish flu.
Yeah.
Well, Spanish flu didn't originate in Spain. That's not how it worked. There is a real fundamental issue with people not willing to admit that they're wrong, and I think that the population has something we have to accept some blame on that, because if someone does something wrong, especially politicians, if they apologize, then it wouldn't always be enough. And so it's all right, you apologize, you learn, fine. Instead, we'll go after the kangaroo court, a court of public opinion, and they'd have to go. Now we're at a point where no one will ever admit anything wrong, and when they do things wrong, they don't go. It's impossible to get rid of MPs. They don't. It's easier to get rid of a footballer, than it is to get rid of fucking an MP.
Well, nowadays you can't even get rid of the advisors.
No.
They're given press conferences. I mean, what's going on there?
Exactly. And you think with footballers that how nigh impossible it is when they're not playing when they're not playing well, to get rid of them. The manager goes. Always the manager. The players never take any fucking blame, even though they could do an entire year of being shit. You can't, and this is the problem. I've always had this problem with sport as a whole. If you're playing bad in any other work, if you were shit for a year, they would sack you. But you can't do that with footballers. But MPs have got more protection than them.
Yeah.
At this point, like there was a news story this week, and this is the police are considering allegations against a community secretary, Robert Jenrick. And this is money has been, who may have abused public office, I'm not being able to speak, over a decision to approve a controversial planning application from, you guessed it, a Tory donor. He granted permission for the West Ferry Printworks development on the 14th of Jan, despite it being criticised by Tower Hamlets, the Greater London Authority, and the government's own planning inspector. This scheme was brought forward by Richard Desmond, it gets better.
I know who Richard Desmond is. I used to work for him. I worked for his marketing company. I've met the man. He's an arsehole.
Right. I mean, nothing in me thinks that porn express cunt is anything other than an arsehole. but it was brought forward by Richard Desmond. Consent was given. This is lovely. Consent was given 1 day before Tower Hamlets Council revised community infrastructure levy rates that came into force, potentially saving Desmond between 30 to 50 million pounds.
Wow.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
I mean, just in the nick of time,
Yeah.
The government has admitted that Jenrick's decision was unlawful. This was after the Tower Hamlets launched legal proceedings in March, and it has since emerged that Jenrick sat next to Desmond at a Conservative Party fundraiser weeks before the decision was made, and that Desmond had brought up the issue. Jenrick has not resigned.
No.
I do not know what more would need to happen for all of that to come in. The government have already admitted it was unlawful. This is it. So this isn't even about him spending time with Desmond next to each other at a fucking Tory fundraiser. I assume fucking chucking donuts on naked poor boys and going, oh, well, I've caught that one, getting a whipping tonight. And all of that, we'll ignore that they brought it up, that they discussed it. Ignore all of that. Just the fact that the government have come out and said that it is unlawful, and he made this decision against the recommendation of everyone. I assume at this point, even his mum was saying, I wouldn't do it. It doesn't seem right. Everyone was telling him no. He probably went to a fucking fortune cookie, opened it up, and it said, don't do this, dickhead. But he still went forward. Unlawful, yet he is still in his fucking job.
Yeah.
What more can be done?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm asking, what more can be done?
Everything about their existence seems to be ironclad, isn't it? You know, it's one of the very few jobs where your pension is guaranteed. The money they say you're going to get, you're going to get. No other industry nowadays can do that, really.
No.
And yet, even in your job, it doesn't matter how much you fuck. I mean, the thing is, we say about the bankers, where, you know, especially the banks have been propped up by the taxpayer. Their bonuses should be performance related. They shouldn't be written into the contract. But you think it's the same with the politicians, though. Like, it doesn't matter how much they fuck up. None of them will go, A, that was me, I was wrong. And B, none of them will go, actually, no, I'm going to step down. I'm going to resign. It doesn't matter how much, yeah.
5-6 years ago, it would have been gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, but then Johnson, you look at pretty much anything he's done in recent years, and just one of those little misdemeanors that he's got up to, whether it's the leaving his wife when she's got cancer and the younger girlfriend and, various children here and there and the lies and all this kind of thing. Any of those things would have lost him his job as an MP, not given him the top job. Yeah. And yet now, even with all that together, he's still sitting there comfortably. His advisor, gets a press conference, won't sack him. He won't admit he's done any wrong, won't quit. These people are bulletproof.
Yes.
They're the Avengers. They're the Justice League. These people are superheroes. Even bullets won't stop them.
Exactly.
Although I'm sure someone would like to test that. But
let's go on to a bit nicer news. 16 and 17-year-olds, 16 and 17-year-olds can now officially vote in Wales for Senedd elections, which is the Welsh Parliament elections. This came in on Monday. So this means that Scotland have for years already allowed 16, 17-year-olds. The only people who do not allow 16, 17-year-olds to vote is England, and no 16 and 17-year-old can vote in any Westminster-related votes.
Wow.
Should we, at this point, allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote?
You know, I don't see why not. I think, you know, I mean, I voted when I was 18. I voted in the 83 election. But I left school at 16. So
Yeah.
I could work, I could earn money, I'd pay tax, but I wasn't allowed to, you know, have a voice on anything that affected me for those 2 years. How is that fair?
So
now, I'm
you
not
think
saying I would necessarily have made a good choice and that I would be as informed then and as read up then as I am now, but it would be nice to have the opportunity. I think, you know,
well, it is if you're going to tax someone but not allow them to vote, but then the argument would be, well, should we only allow people to vote then if they pay tax, which isn't the way forward at all. 16, 17-year-olds should be allowed to vote, in my opinion, because a lot of the stuff that's going on is going to affect them vastly more than it's affecting others. And if we allow people to, like, what's the legal age for driving? 17?
Yeah, I think 17. I still don't drive, so
no, neither do I. So I think we've both missed the
ship
first.
sailed a while ago. Yeah.
Oh, I'd say the first get in. Like, we miss the early for it. You know, we should have done it years ago. But if we're going to allow people to leave school and work in the world, pay tax and everything else, then at that age they should be also allowed to vote.
Yeah.
And for the first fucking few, at least for their first vote, they won't do it drunk. Which is a plus, I think. You're not going to, hopefully, you're not going to find a 16-year-old drinking all day and then think, fuck me, I need to vote now. Stroll down and go, you know, for a laugh, let's vote in UKIP.
Clearly, too many people did that.
Right.
Although they're not as popular as they used to be, which is a good
because they've got nothing to argue about now.
Clearly, that's gone somewhere else, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. We've got a couple more stories and maybe about 10 minutes left. So we'll do two very quick ones. Minister for Rough Sleeping and Housing, Luke Hall, has told councils in England to seek to encourage people, where appropriate and possible, to return to friends and family. There's homeless people. Hey, have you thought about friends and family? This is they've been pressing councils to find alternative accommodation for the 15,000 rough sleepers who have been given a place to stay under the Everyone In housing scheme.
Wow.
First question: have you heard anything dumber?
I'm still flabbergasted by the article. That's astounding, isn't it? So you're saying to someone who would rather sleep on the street in the cold or whatever the temperature is, and the dry and the wet, they would rather sleep on the street than go back to where they were before, quite possibly because they were abused mentally, physically, sexually, maybe because maybe it's because they're gay or whatever, and they're being discriminated against by parents or family that don't understand. These people would rather sleep on the streets than be in that environment. So you're saying to them, what you should do is just go back to that environment you don't want to be in.
Or even the other side of, like, you've got people who are homeless, and many reasons for people to be homeless. You go, oh, have you thought about friends and family? Oh no, I've been homeless for 5 years. That never popped into my fucking head.
Yeah.
Finally, you've solved homelessness, you knobhead.
Wow.
That's one stupid thing an MP has said this week. We have another. Do not worry.
Oh.
This is Jonathan Reynolds, who is the
political Darwin Awards.
And this one's a fucking doozy. Jonathan Reynolds, who is Labour's new shadow work and pension secretary, has said, and this in his first national interview since getting the job, that welfare system needed a stronger link between what you put in and what you get out. This is to tackle the cynicism among working people. And so he has said that greater contributions to the system should receive more out of it.
Right. So by that, he's suggesting that if you need it, it doesn't matter if you need help. That's, you're not necessarily going to get it. It's instead of the people that have done well, that have money, and then they're obviously contributing, and that's helping people worse off than them, which is obviously one of the benefits of taxation. These people saying, well, if you put a load in, then you'll get a load out of it. If you don't put so much in, then fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dumb as fuck. I wanted to chuck that in there because I don't want it to all just be Tory bashing. There are people in Labour who are also thick as pig shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say the majority. I'd say fucking all of them. Anyone who's an MP.
It's a prerequisite for most of the people in there, isn't it?
It's but that is, as you pointed out, takes away the whole point of what the welfare system is there. The welfare system is there to help the most vulnerable. If you let's say you're a multi-millionaire and you've paid tons and tons of tax, and then you lose your job. All right, I need to go into welfare now. Oh, you've put in tons. Let's give you it all back. That makes no fucking sense. Welfare has to be equal. It has to help the most vulnerable. And if it's helping you, but you're slightly more well off than someone else, then you should be getting what you need, not extra on top.
Yeah.
Fucking.
But then this also goes back to, you know, where people are, you know, they have the attitude that anyone that receives benefits of any kind is a sponge. It's like, you know, you're sponging off of the state, unless of course it's done by a corporation or multi-millionaires or billionaires, in which case they don't mind that.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's
that one's okay.
Yeah, or a subsidy and welfare. The exact same thing, just subsidy is fucking vastly more expensive on us. Right, we're going to have to go quickly through because there are actual more stories. Labour have accused the government of attempting a power grab for the executive by pushing through a bill which will strip Parliament of its role in approving the imminent redrawing of the UK parliamentary boundaries. Now, the idea originally was to go from 650 MPs to 600 MPs. However, that's been shelved because Tory MPs would lose their seats, and they didn't want that. When it was 600, they wanted when the original idea came for it to go from 650 to 600. May was in charge. It was a lot closer to a hung parliament, and Labour owned a lot of the smaller constituencies. And so they went, right, well, let's move it down, and then that'll affect Labour. But after them getting the massive majority, they're going, oh, no. Let's not take away seats from ourselves.
So this is basically non-boundary moving gerrymandering.
Because they will be doing gerrymandering, but Parliament don't get a say in it. It's just going to come into law because we don't live in a democracy anymore. The government's argument is that what it will provide is a certainty that the independent and impartial recommendations from the England, Scotland, Wales commissions will go through unimpeded. But then you have to question if it actually will. Will this be science? Will this be the science stuff all over again? Going, well, this is what they've recommended. We're going to take this recommendation, make slight little changes. It's all about what that is very much all about whether or not you trust the government. And if you can trust a government that's willing to take away democracy, then more for you. And I think final story is Michel Barnier has said that in all areas, the UK continues to backtrack from the commitments made in the political declaration.
Yeah, I've seen about that. Yeah.
Will we get a deal by the end of the year?
Well, the thing is, as well, they keep saying, if you want, you can have an extension. So Johnson keeps U-turning and backtracking.
End of June is the final day to.
And he keeps saying he doesn't want an extension. So it's almost like he's got his mind set on no deal, but doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, it's always been the idea for no deal, and they're going to want to blame the EU for it happening. That's it. You got anything to plug?
Yeah.
No,
not a thing.
No. Oh, okay.
Once everything's back to normal, and we can walk around and we can see each other, and we've been vaccinated and that kind of thing, I shall go back to my tour guide work in London. So if anyone wants a tour of London, let me know. Other than that, not a thing.
Delightful.
You can follow me on Twitter, but I don't do that much on it. In fact, follow Dane Baptiste. I love Dane.
Yeah.
Wonderful. He's done a lot of good work
wonderful.
at the moment.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I'm going to get him on soon, but I want to get him on when we're in the pub. I think that'll be a nicer environment to have him on.
Well, let me know. I'll come and have a beer with you both afterwards.
Yeah. Well, thank you to Gary for being the guest.
Very welcome.
And
it was enjoyable.
Pete, stop recording it now. That's it. We're done.